Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome to this preview for the Palace game which kicks off Saturday at 1500. And as usual what we do is we invite on the channel an opposition fan channel, and as usual we've got Ollie back. So what I'll let you do is I'll let you listen to Ollie's introduction.
Hello guys, my name is Ollie from Talk Crystal Palace and I'm here now to do a preview of the Man City Palace game on Saturday. It should be an easy win for Palace. Obviously we won there last season. Routine for us. I'm obviously joking. It's going to be a very hard game to say the least. I'm sure that Andy will leave a link to our Twitter and our YouTube in the description down below. Please go ahead and follow us, subscribe. The content's been a bit few and far between on the channel lately, but that will soon be fixed. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, thanks Ollie. What we're going to do is 5 questions as usual to each other. And this is my first question to Ollie. So, you've become a draw specialist of late with 3 1-1s. Is this frustrating or a good point considering you've played Arsenal, Norwich and Southampton?
So, obviously we've had 3 1-0 draws recently. Arsenal, Norwich, Southampton. I think in hindsight, a few of them were good points. Like Southampton were on a great run of form. I think they've won like 6 out of 7, I read. So at the time I was disappointed with that because we should have won it. It was just an individual mistake which cost us. But in hindsight, I think that was actually quite a good point. Arsenal was a good point as well. They were brilliant first half. But again, we were kind of lacking a bit. And Norwich as well, we were awful against Norwich. And we were very lucky to get a point. My main thing is that we don't really lose games anymore. The games where really most other teams in the league would lose, we end up drawing, which is a good habit to get into. I think the only teams we've lost to this season are the traditional, the top 5 and Leicester and Newcastle. I think that's it. I might be wrong. Our record against the teams around us is exemplary and it's something which we pride ourselves on. So, whilst we could have won those games, that's true, at least we didn't lose them. All of those games, I didn't walk away thinking we should have won that. Arsenal are a good team. Southampton were on good form. Really, we should have won that. But again, in hindsight, not the end of the world. And Norwich, we were awful. And given our injury problems, we're playing with an entire second string back 4 effectively at the moment. We're doing well. And as long as we can get the players back to full fitness, get some reinforcements in January, I think we'll be absolutely fine and hopefully push up the table. But yeah, I think those points are good points rather than disappointing defeats.
Okay, so here's Ollie's first question to me. He asks, is the title race now totally done and dusted? Yeah, I think so. I think it's been maybe for the last few weeks, really. I think the United defeat was really the last sort of nail in the coffin for this season in the Premier League. However, if any team can come back against an opposition, even with 10 points, 12 points, 14-point lead, it's Man City. But I just think Liverpool are far too strong this season. They're very, very consistent. They've had a little bit of luck on the way, but you need that in the Premier League. And I just don't think we've been at the races. We're only just starting to now look like a team that is hitting the same type of form where we were last season. We've had a number of injuries. Obviously, very long-term injuries so far with Laporte and Leroy Sané, and missing 2 absolutely massive players like that is going to hurt any team. But that's what a big squad's for, and we've had opportunities to see the likes of Taylor Howard-Bellis and Eric Garcia, a little bit more this season of Phil Foden as well. Riyad Mahrez has come to the fore now. He's having a bit of a run of games. Aguero looks like he's hungry again after a few niggles. And we've got the return of David Silva from injury. Kevin De Bruyne has been absolutely superb. And Fernandinho at the back has been an absolute rock. But I still don't think it's going to be enough. I can't see Liverpool slipping up and losing 5 games. I just can't see it. I still think they'll lose. I don't think they'll go unbeaten. But for me, it's focus on the Champions League and the other 2 cup competitions. And my second question to Ollie was, Palace are 9th, 1 point off Spurs as it stands. How's your season been so far, and where do you think you can finish this season?
We're top half at the moment, which I didn't think we would be. 1 point below Spurs, which is really impressive, actually, when you think about it. I think our season's been good because it's been good, but a lot of people don't think it has been good because we played some awful football at times. We scored the least goals in the league this season, but we've built up a very strong defensive structure. And whilst that can be quite dull to watch at times, it's working, and to be honest, that's all I really care about. As I said, we've had some serious injury problems. Like Van Aanholt, who's so important for us, our only left back, he's injured. Schlupp, who can play there, also injured. Joel Ward's our only right back, he's injured. Sacco's out for ages again. Cahill had a spell out as well. Tompkins has been in and out of the team with injury. Milivojevic is suspended. Townsend's injured. He's our only other winger apart from Wilf, who is also playing through injury. We're completely depleted, to be honest. But we're still getting results, we're still picking up points, and we're still in the hunt for Europa League spot, which you cannot complain about that as a Palace fan. Given that on paper our squad is not great. To be honest, injuries in January really define our season. We've already signed Cenk Tosun, which is not bad, but we need more than that. I mean, it's a bit underwhelming. I'd have loved Batshuayi, who we supposedly are still interested in, but I don't think we'll get him now. If we can get some depth at fullback and some wingers, then we could push up the table and could push for Europe. But knowing us, we won't do that. I think we'll stay up, and realistically, that's all I care about. We're in a transitional phase at the moment where we're waiting on the stadium to be approved. Our owners, our American investors, don't want to invest in the team. We spent $5 million in the summer, and we're ninth. And given the fact we were mid-table last season, I think that's really impressive that we've actually moved up the table, having barely improved our team. But we've bought really, really wisely. Jordan Ayew has been a sensation this season. Gary Cahill, who I was like, why on earth have we signed him? He's been brilliant as well. I think we bought well, and I can't complain. Roy's doing a great job given the resources. Yes, the football is shit at times, and it means that when we lose, fans are like, oh, I can't bear this, because it's just, we don't even play well and lose. We play badly and lose, or we play badly and win. And it'd be nice for us to play the football, which I know we can play under Roy, but we haven't done that this season. But ultimately, it's a results business, and we are doing well, so I can't complain.
His second question is pretty similar to the previous one, talking about what now for City this season. Can you salvage it? Well, I wouldn't say salvage it. I mean, you've got to bear in mind we are second in the Premier League, probably guaranteed Champions League football now for next season. We are in the semi-final second leg of the Carabao Cup, and we've got a 3-1 lead going into the home tie against United. So you'd have to suspect, without sort of bringing in City-itis, that we're going to get through again to another Carabao Cup final where, you know, we could play Leicester or Villa. So we've got a good chance of winning the Carabao Cup yet again. We're still in the FA Cup with a decent draw. And the Champions League, we've got Real Madrid, which is going to be a difficult game. But I don't see why City should fear Real Madrid. I really don't. So I wouldn't say salvage, because let's face it, most opposition fans, most pundits, everyone else was saying, you know, City surely should go for the Champions League now. That's the priority. Well, the league has been taken out of our hands by Liverpool. So what's the difference? We're still on course for where most people thought we should be, and that's going for the Champions League. So it's ironic. That suddenly the Champions League is almost being intimated as it's the second competition behind the Premier League, when everybody was saying, well, the Premier League's just your bread and butter. The Champions League is where you want to be. We are there. That's where we are. So I still think City can have a wonderful season. You imagine if we won the Champions League, FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, another treble after the treble or 4 last season, winning all domestic competitions. It'd be another wonderful season. I'm happy if City got to a final of the Champions League, but I don't see why, with the likes of Sané and Laporte coming back, possible signing or two if we do in January, I don't see why we shouldn't go all out and try and win the Champions League this season. And my third question to Ollie was, Ayew scored an amazing goal the other week. Has he been your standout player this season? If not, who has?
Ayew's goal against West Ham was like probably the highlight of my season so far. I loved it. It's between him and 2 players, probably, maybe 3. So he's been fantastic. He was very average on loan last season, but he scored some massive goals for us. I think every single one of his goals has gained us some kind of points this season. He scores big goals at big times, and without his goals, we'd be in the bottom 3 this season, which is mad when you think about it. He works hard. He's good on the ball. He's been sensational. I don't think any Palace fan thought he'd be as effective as he has been. Cahill, I've already mentioned. We have a lot of good centre backs, a lot of whom are unfortunately very injury prone. And Cahill has come in and really added to that quality. Like, our centre backs are brilliant because we've got players like James Tompkins, who's been our player of the season probably 2 seasons in a row. genuinely one of the best centre-backs outside the top 6 who hasn't even got a guaranteed starting spot on our team, because we've got Cahill, Mamadou Sakho, Martin Kelly, who deserves a lot of credit for filling in injuries at right back and at centre back, and our record when he plays is brilliant. We've won like 60% of the games that he started this season, which is mental again. But probably for me, our player of the season will be Vicente Guaita, who City were interested in, supposedly. He has just been absolutely brilliant. In goal, we got him in a free a few years ago. He's come in, replaced Wayne Hennessy, who played against you last, and Guaita wins us so many points. Like, he is probably the most underrated player in the Premier League, because a lot of players don't even know, a lot of teams, don't even know who he is. A lot of fans don't even know who he is, when he has been a sensation for us. The fact that he has been head and shoulders above Wilf this season is saying a lot. I know Wilf's had a great season, but Guaita has just been unbelievable, and I hope that you'll get to see how good he is on Saturday. Please don't buy him, because he's too good to sit on the bench of a Premier League team, no matter how good you might be. Keep Bravo, he's good. Don't come for Guaita, because he's been sensational for us, and no one knows who he is still. And while that's happening, I'm going to be very, very happy, but it's not going to be long until teams come in and go, hang on a minute, this bloke's pretty good. He's 33, so he's not got ages left in his career, but that's still a good few years left for a goalkeeper. But, I mean, just look at his save against Arsenal, his double save against Arsenal, which kept us in the game. That just epitomised it. He's been fantastic this season. I think, to be honest, he's a shoo-in for our player of the year. Maybe you might scrape it, but I think Guaita should get it.
His third question to me is, any hopes for the January transfer window? It's silly season. It's always the same. We've been linked with about 15 players already. Pep said that, there's going to be no signings. You've got to take that at face value. How many teams say that, and managers say that because they don't want other people sniffing around the players. We see every time we go in for a player, Man United suddenly are linked with them as well. So I'll be surprised. I don't think there'll be any big money signings. I really don't, because January is notoriously difficult to buy players in January, especially those who are already in Champions League squads who progress to the next stage. So I can't see it, I'll be honest with you. We might get maybe one on loan or something like that, but we'll wait and see. But no, I'm not hopeful for any signings, big signings in January. I think all the big business will be done in the summer by Pep Guardiola. My fourth question to Ollie was all about VAR, and I just wanted to try and gauge his thoughts on VAR and see whether he thinks VAR should stay, whether there's issues with it, or whether Palace has in fact benefited from it.
Now, my thoughts on VAR. Look, it has its flaws. I think I'll break it down. The handball thing, I actually agree with. I think that you just need to call every handball as handball, otherwise it becomes too subjective and it will just cause more debate. And I think that is a consistent rule, and at least they're being consistent. They're being consistently bad, but they're still being consistent. The offsides are ridiculous. I don't need to go into detail about that. Having said that, we have benefited from VAR a lot this season. We were mugged off a bit against Southampton when Wilf's toenail was offside, but we've had 2 disallowed goals at the end of games, with Wickham against Norwich and Ayew against West Ham, both overturned, giving us 3 extra points. So I can't complain in that sense. Also, we had a goal disallowed, the Arsenal's goal disallowed against us at the Emirates for literally nothing, thanks to VAR. That gave us an extra point. We've been one of the main teams that's benefited from it, from the dodgy decisions. So I don't want to complain too much. But it's been consistent. I think they'll change it next season, because it can't carry on like this, especially the offsides. I think it's ridiculous. It's tough, because I know it's annoying, because technically it is right, so I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't change it. Technically, Johnny was offside against Liverpool. Was it Johnny for Wolves? Technically, Zaha was offside. Technically, but it's not really in the spirit of the game. And when you can't guarantee that the frame they're choosing is exactly when the ball has been kicked, you can't be drawing the dotted lines. It's just not fair. But having said that, they're obviously not going to change it before the end of the season. I understand that. And at least they're showing the decision on the screen. I do like that. That's something they deserve credit for. They're at least letting the crowd know now what's going on a bit better than they were before. So it's not great, but I can't complain, because it's helped us a lot this season, and knowing how it will probably help us on Saturday as well.
And Ollie's fourth question to me was, Palace beat you at the Etihad last season. Are there any players you're wary of this time round? Palace are always one of those teams. Obviously, Townsend scored that absolute beauty once against City. at the Etihad there. But you've got the likes of Wilfried Zaha on his day, though I always think, I don't know, he's too inconsistent for me, Zaha. But on his day, he can be absolutely terrifying. Obviously, Ayew is a player on form. That goal he scored there the other week was absolutely incredible. So we're going to have to watch out for them, especially with our back line and our back four not being at the heights that we have been in the past season or two. But I don't know, Milihajlovic, free kicks, penalties. I'm assuming he's still on free kicks and penalties. He's always dangerous as well. So it could be from anywhere. I mean, you only have to look at, when we got beat by Norwich, Pukki was the one that stood out. So it could be any player on the day. But I'm just hopeful that we can contain those fast, quick players that Palace have going forward. And my final question to Ollie was, who do you think City's standout player has been so far this season? And what's your score prediction for Saturday?
I mean, for City this season, there's also been a few standouts, but the main one's got to be Kevin De Bruyne, who I think is just the best player in the Premier League by an absolute mile. What he can do on the football is a joke. He would walk into any team in the world. I just think he's class. Like, Mahrez had a good season, but I saw a few people saying he should be up for Player of the Year, but I feel like he hasn't played enough. I suppose he's only started like half your games this season. But yeah, De Bruyne has always been the main one. He's been great. I think Fernandinho deserves a lot of credit as well for slipping in at centre half and actually proving to be probably your most reliable defender ahead of Otamendi, ahead of Stones, which I know might not be saying much, but he deserves a lot of credit as well. I think you've just been unlucky this season, like in terms of injury. I mean, it could have been a good title race, and Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, we've had injuries too." Like, they haven't had any big injuries. You having Laporte and Sané out was massive. Aguero's missed chunks through injury as well. Like, you can't complain. And them having Naby Keita out injured for a bit, it doesn't make no difference, does it? On Saturday, I can never, ever, 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 ever go to the Etihad and predict us to get a result, even though we won there last season and we invariably give you a decent game. I can't do that. That would just be ridiculous. So I'm going to go for 2-0 City. I don't think we'll score because Wilf's half fit and he's our only able attacker really at the moment. But this is one of those games just to write off. I'm never going to complain if we lose, as long as it's not like 8-0, 9-0, then it's fine. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen on Saturday. Good luck for the rest of the season. I mean, I assume the title race for you is over now. But Champions League, if you win that, surely you take that ahead of the Premier League anyway, to be honest. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for having me on. I'm sure I'll see you soon for another preview on this channel. I really love doing them, so thanks for having me on. Good luck for Saturday, and I'll see you all soon.
And Ollie's final question to me is my score prediction. Well, I've gone for Manchester City 4, Crystal Palace 1. I do think you'll score, whether you score first or not, maybe, because that's your last 3 Premier League games have been 1-1, 1-1 and 1-1. So you have scored against the likes of Norwich, Southampton, Arsenal. And I mean, look at us the other night against Aston Villa. 6-0 up, cruising, then we go and give away a sloppy penalty right at the death. So it could be something like that. I do think you'll score, but I just think City are now starting to hit some really serious form. And we've seen the way that we played against United and the way that we played against Villa was absolutely incredible. And with Sergio back, hungry for goals, wants to break more records. We've got Mahrez now starting to find the back of the net. We've got Bernardo Silva, we've got a point to prove because he's been in and out of form this season. Kevin De Bruyne, he's just Kevin De Bruyne, he's absolutely incredible. And you've got Raheem Sterling, who was left on the bench. So Sterling will be hungry to come back and really prove a point. So I'm going to go Man City 4, Crystal Palace 1. But anyway, listen, Ollie, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the channel again. Don't forget, you can follow Ollie and his channel. All the links will be in the description below. And let's just hope we have get 3 points, have a wonderful game on Saturday. Anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Take care, and we'll see you soon.